with Justin Jefferson and Eric Wilson both having breakout seasons for the Minnesota Vikings this year. Now, Justin Jefferson, huge breakout season for him. Eric Wilson, surprisingly, not that surprisingly, but it's going under the radar that he is having a great season so far. Eric Wilson is surprising me, and I'm very happy to see how great he can do this year. With all the tackles, he's a great tackler, and he's always in the right spot. Eric Wilson is good at positioning himself, and that's what's really good for him this year. So those are two players that I would give him as breakout players so far this year. I'm going to be talking about 5 players for the Minnesota Vikings that I really want to see break out this year, that I'm waiting to see break out this year. I think they all can do it, and we're going to be starting off with number 5, Chad Beebe. Now, Chad Beebe is a player who was our 2017 undrafted free agent, and he's been pretty good throughout his whole career. I mean, it's his 3rd season right now, and he's been pretty good. He spent most of his rookie season on the practice squad, as a lot of undrafted free agents do, and he spent a lot of it on there. And then they moved him to the active roster, where he was on special teams. You saw him last year in the punt returning game, which I think he would still be fine at that. I mean, I don't know if he's better than KJ Osborne. He never looked bad in the punt return game. He never looked bad at anything. And now he is our starting slot receiver over BC Johnson, after BC Johnson did have a few drops in the NFL. I was displeased to see how BC Johnson was playing this year. Now, I was also not very surprised. I was saying BC, I don't think he is ready to step into that starting role. They're not going to give him the ball much. I would give him maybe 2 targets a game or something like that. Of course, he is a 7th round draft pick, so he will always exceed standards. Even if he just leaves the NFL now, he will always exceed standards, because a lot of 7th round draft picks don't even get a game to start in the NFL. And BC did step up, and now Chad Beebe is our number 3 receiver, and I want to see a lot more from him. I want to see him get more targets. I want to see Chad Beebe used more, and it's interesting to see. I haven't seen Chad Beebe drop a pass yet. He's been pretty good. I mean, all he is a slot receiver, though. That's all Chad Beebe is a slot receiver. I don't see him doing anything else besides that in his entire career. I don't see him going very far, but I want to see this player break out as like a solid slot receiver in the NFL, and I want to see him used more a little bit. Now, of course, we do have Justin Jefferson to throw to. We do have Kyle Rudolph and Adam Thielen, so there is a lot of players that are going to get the ball. But if you can design like 1 or 2 plays maybe for Chad Beebe, I want to see him used a lot more, and that's why he is on my number 5 pick. Now, for number 4, we have Ifeadi Odenigbo. Now, of course, with Danielle Hunter out, we do see a lot more from our defensive ends. Ifeadi Odenigbo has now started 4 games in the NFL after not starting any games in the NFL past. Now he was our 7th round draft pick in 2017, although he didn't play. He was cut by the team, even though he was a 7th round draft pick. He was cut by the team, played for a couple other teams. I think he was on the active roster for the Arizona Cardinals for a little bit, and then was cut by them as well. So I think he was cut by 3 teams now. And now Ifeadi Odenigbo has made his way back to the Minnesota Vikings and is now a starter. Of course, Danielle Hunter is out, so now he is starting 4 games so far in the NFL, and I haven't seen much from him so far. I thought Ifeadi Odenigbo was going to get to the passer a lot easier. Now, of course, he did get a sack. He did get quite a few tackles. Last year, he did get 7 sacks as a backup defensive end. And now the more we see Ifeadi Odenigbo play, the more we're thinking that all he is a filler piece. We don't see him starting a game in the NFL and actually dominating throughout the entire game. Now, Ifeadi Odenigbo, I want to see him do a lot better because, of course, it is our starting defensive end with Yannick Ngakoue on the other side. So I want to see Ifeadi Odenigbo do a lot more. I was surprised to see that he's not getting as many sacks as he would. Of course, last year he got 7 sacks as a backup defensive end, which is really good. And we're paying this guy's pennies. We are paying Ifeadi Odenigbo pennies to play on the team. He is a starting defensive end for the team, and we are paying this guy about nothing because he was we did get him from free agency, even though the Vikings did draft him and dropped him and stuff like that. So he is a great filler piece for the Vikings. I don't know if he's much of a starter. He hasn't solidified himself as that yet, but we do see a lot more from Ifeadi Odenigbo and DJ Wonnum this year. DJ Wonnum, our 3rd round draft pick. Andre Patterson, 4th round draft pick. Andre Patterson, he drafts defensive linemen so well. And that's what Andre Patterson does. He just drafts players. I think drafting players in the 4th round is the best spot to grab defensive linemen also. Because, of course, they didn't do much in college, but if you draft those very athletic guys that you saw in the combine that can do a lot of things, and you have a coach like Andre Patterson for a defensive lineman coach, and he can train those guys up, if you see that they are athletic and they can do things that you can't train, like speed and, that agility and that kind of stuff, and you can train them up, that's a great spot to grab a defensive lineman too. Offensive linemen also, you just grab the athletic guys in the 4th round. That's a good spot to grab them. Anyways, I want to see a lot more from Afadio Denebo, even if he's an interior rusher. Right now, Shamar Stephen and Jaleel Johnson haven't done great as interior defensive linemen, but Afadio Denebo he was used on the inside sometime last year. Of course, now he is a defensive end, and Jalen Holmes is also playing defensive end, which is kind of surprising. But I want to see a lot more from Afadio Denebo, of course. I want to see him unsheath the sword. That's his go-to move right there. I want to see a lot more from this guy. I've expected to see more, so I'm kind of disappointed, but also I haven't lost hope in Afadio Denebo yet. Now, number 3. I want to see this guy play so bad. I am waiting. I am so eager to see this guy play. James Lynch from Baylor, our 4th round draft pick. I just talked about grabbing defensive linemen in the 4th round is what Andre Patterson does, and it's a great spot to grab defensive linemen for the Minnesota Vikings. 3rd round too. We got Danielle Hunter in the 3rd round. And also, Andre Patterson just knows talent. James Lynch is a very talented guy from Baylor, and he was our 4th round draft pick, defensive tackle. Again, I just said Shamar Stephen and Jaleel Johnson have not solidified themselves as starters. I'm not much of a fan of Shamar Stephen. I think they should honestly just cut his contract, let him go. But Jaleel Johnson, of course, he's young. You can give him some more time. Anyways, I want to see these defensive linemen step up. If it's not James Lynch, I want to see Armond Watts play more. Both these players are great interior rushers. Okay, Armond Watts is more of a run stopper, but still, we need to stop that run. With Anthony Barr now out, it's harder to stop that run, and we need someone to get that interior rush or just interior stopping the run. Something on the inside, and I want to see James Lynch used a lot more. He is our rookie right now, and you know Rick Spielman. Rick Spielman is very slow to start rookies. Even Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson wasn't getting targets. He wasn't even starting till his third game in, and he was our 1st round draft pick. He is very slow to start rookies. Rick Spielman, I don't hate that decision too, especially this year where of course there was no preseason, there wasn't much of training camp and all that. It was shortened. So this year it makes a little bit more sense, but sometimes I feel like you should rush to start rookies a little bit better than Rick Spielman has done so far, especially when you have needs on the interior side of the defensive line, and you should just play James Lynch more. That's what you should do. You should just play him more, and we're going to get to another player that Rick Spielman, there's no reason why he shouldn't have used him yet, and that's going to be next we're going to be talking about Irv Smith. Irv Smith was actually my prediction for the breakout player of the year. Irv Smith Jr., 2nd-year player out of Alabama, 2nd round draft pick in 2019. Irv Smith, you know me, I love Irv Smith. Irv Smith is great after contact, great after the catch. He can run routes. He is a tight end that you want in 2020. He is a tight end that can do just about everything you want. We haven't seen it yet though, although he did get a few drop passes. I was a little bit surprised because he didn't drop very many passes in Alabama when he was there, but he is a very versatile tight end. He is a great blocker. He can run your routes. He can make plays after the catch. That's what Kyle Rudolph can't do, is make plays after the catch, even though he is probably the best catcher on the team. Has the best hands, but anyways, I want to see Irv Smith used more. Maybe not much this season, although I am saying breakout players this season because he was my pick for the breakout player this year. I don't know. He did drop a few passes, and it makes sense why he is not right now looking as great as I thought he was going to do, because he did have a couple drop passes. Anyways, we still have Kyle Rudolph, and he's sitting behind Kyle Rudolph, and this is going to be our tight end for the future after Kyle Rudolph is done. Right now, Kyle Rudolph, I think he's 32, something like that. Kyle Rudolph's been in the NFL, I think he's on his 10th season now. So Kyle Rudolph is probably about 32. Anyways, so I would still give Kyle Rudolph a few more years. And then now going forward, Irv Smith is going to be the starter. Of course, last year we did run a lot more 2 tight end sets, but now with Gary Kubiak in charge of the offense, it's not very much of that. It's mostly Kyle Rudolph just being a blocking tight end. We don't even see him getting very many targets. It runs a lot different than when Kevin Stefanski was our offensive coordinator last year, where Irv Smith was actually used more than he was this year. But still, I want to see Irv Smith used more, maybe not this week, maybe not the weeks going forward, but around week 8 and later, I want to see Irv Smith used a lot more. I want to see a lot more 2 tight end sets for the Minnesota Vikings, because you do have a player like Irv Smith that is a very versatile tight end that you can use a lot in the NFL. Now, the number 1 player that the Minnesota Vikings breakout player that they need to use more is Ezra Cleveland. Our 2nd round draft pick out of Boise State. Our 2nd round draft pick out of Boise State. Like I said, Rick Spielman is very slow to start rookies in the NFL. He is very slow to start rookies in the NFL, and there is no reason why he should not start Ezra Cleveland right now. Now, of course, Riley Reiff is having a great season, and Ezra Cleveland is a left tackle. But this is what you see all the time. If you take a offensive lineman in the first and second round, it's just about always the left tackle, because anytime a college has one player in the offensive line who's clearly the best, they play him at left tackle. Ezra Cleveland can play anywhere else. Ezra Cleveland can play anywhere else. Keep Riley Reiff as left tackle. Of course, you're paying him this much money. He's going to be your starter. Anyways, Riley Reiff has had a great season so far. He's surprised me so far. He had a terrible 2019 season, has started off this season well, and now he's getting paid less than he was last year. Anyways, Ezra Cleveland, he's a left tackle. You don't need to play him over Riley Reiff. We have a huge problem at guard right now. Dakota Dozier looked okay. I mean, I was very happy with how Dakota Dozier looked in the first 2 seasons. I mean, in the first 2 weeks after that, he hasn't looked very well. And then also you have Drew Samia. Drew Samia has looked terrible. I was very happy to see that Drew Samia was going to start over Pat Elflein because Pat Elflein did get injured. I wasn't happy Pat Elflein got injured, but I wanted to see some more of Drew Samia. Yeah, I've saw enough of Drew Samia. He has not played great at all. He's played terrible. Play Ezra Cleveland over him. I know Ezra Cleveland's a left tackle. He can play guard too. He can play right guard. He might not be the best at right guard, but he's better than Drew Samia. I can tell you that right now. This guy, Ezra Cleveland, is better than Drew Samia, and they need to play this guy more. Again, Rick Spielman's very slow to start rookies, so I don't know if it's going to happen. But also, they just need someone to start over Drew Samia right now. Drew Samia has looked terrible. Of course, he did only start 2 games now, but both weeks, I've seen enough from Drew Samia. No, 3 weeks now. He's played 3 games now, didn't play week 1. So Drew Samia started 3 games now, and I've seen enough from him. We have a huge problem at right guard, and Ezra Cleveland can fix that. I don't know why Rick Spielman is not playing him there. I want to see Ezra Cleveland there, and I want to see Ezra Cleveland take that starting role over Drew Samia and Pat Elflein and never give it back. That's what I want to see happen. He's very athletic. I saw how Ezra Cleveland looks. He is very athletic. This guy can play right guard. This guy can play right guard. Of course, he is built like a left tackle, though. He is built like a left tackle. And maybe after the season, they might cut Reiff's contract going forward and start Ezra Cleveland. I don't know how it's going to look, but I want to see Ezra Cleveland play. And I don't know why Rick Spielman hasn't played him yet, because that is a huge need for the Minnesota Vikings right now. Let me know what y'all think.